Everyone, and welcome back to my channel. My name is Vera, and on here I like to talk about anything that's going on in my knitting life. I like doing these podcasts every now and then where I kind of talk about my finished items that I was able to kind of cast off since the last podcast I did, where I talk about my works in progress and where I talk about kind of what's next in the planning in terms of my knitting. We are in the middle of June here. It is very, very warm where we are, and here we don't really have air conditioning, so we're just kind of like surviving in the office and then surviving when we get home. So it's definitely summer knitting, really hot. We go to the lake, we go kind of up into the mountains where it's a little bit colder. But for my knitting, it means that there's not too much wool going on at the moment because it's just not bearable. It's way too hot. I can barely think about cotton or linen or something like that on my hands, and even that is not like the nicest when it's literally 30 degrees. I don't know what that is in Fahrenheit, but it's when it's very hot out, and in here as well. But I've still kind of been, knitting along and knitting when I feel like it, more or less. My projects have definitely gone into the summer mode. I just shared all my summer knitting plans on here, and those are kind of like, that's the queue I'm working on at the moment. First, I want to talk about what I'm wearing at the moment. This is the Audrey top by PetiteKnit. I made this top last year actually, and I love the color of it. I don't wear it too much because it is kind of hard to wear with the neckline here with a bra, but yeah, I wish I wore it more. I try to make an effort to wear it. If you're curious, this is size S, I guess, and I made it in Drops Cotton Light, which is a super affordable yarn. It's a cotton polyester mix, and I don't know, this is like a red color. I don't know what the color was called at the moment, but it's a really big gauge, so it works up really quickly. I think it's like a 20 or 21 stitch gauge. And yeah, I just, when I wear it, I love having it on. I think it really accentuates like my upper body. I think it's a really nice shape. I just wish that I were a little bit more bra friendly. Another thing that I would do differently the next time I knit this top, because I think I will knit another one, I just love it, is make the armholes a little higher. Like here you can kind of see the bra I'm wearing underneath here because it's just very low. So I'm definitely gonna make the body a little longer or make the armholes a little less deep. So if you're making this pattern, maybe that's something to keep in mind, that the armholes are very deep. And for your reference, I am 167, so I think that's 5'5". But I'm 167, and I think I have pretty normal proportions. I have an 88 centimeter bust, which I think is 34 inches or something like that. But yeah, even like on me, like I'm not, shorter. Even on me, these arm openings are quite long. So something to keep in mind. But anyways, enough about my Audrey top. I have 3 finished items that I want to share today. I only have 2 of them with me here because one of them I already gifted. The first one I want to share is this one. So this is my Give Me the Tea top, or t-shirt I should say. And the designer here is Jenny Ansah. It is part of the book 52 Weeks of Easy Knits, and I knit this in the 2nd size on 3mm needles using the Drops Belle yarn in color number 7 at a gauge of, I guess it's 20 stitches per 10 centimeters. This took me 275 grams of this yarn, so I think that's 5.5 skeins, which was a little bit more than expected, mainly because the pattern was very, let's put it this way, I made a lot of adjustments to the pattern. So let me talk about those. It is a pretty basic t-shirt, or so I thought. I had this almost finished last podcast, but I knew that I needed to make some adjustments. So the first adjustment I made was I lengthened the sleeves by around about, what is this, maybe like 10 centimeters, like this much, 4 inches. The initial sleeves were just really short and I just didn't like the way they looked when I wore the top. Basically, when I put this t-shirt on before my adjustments, it just looked like a child's t-shirt that I was now wearing, and I didn't really enjoy that. So I lengthened the sleeves by quite a lot, and then I lengthened the body also by another 5 to 10 centimeters, I would say, after already having like lengthened it by I think about 10 to 15 centimeters. So in the pattern, it states that from the bottom armpit bind off, or like where you pick up the stitches, you should knit 15 centimeters, which is like until here. And you can see that that's like, when I tried it on, it was above my belly button. It was so cropped. I like a crop top, but I don't like a crop top that's that short. So I already had added like quite a bit of yarn, and then down here I then switched to like a smaller needle size, which you might be able to see because it was also curving out a lot. And I added like even more after I thought I had already finished it. I also, the second adjustment other than the lengthening was that I didn't love the double folded brims at the sleeves and at the bottom. Again, I think because the sleeves and the bottom were just so cropped, I didn't like it, so I had to undo that, of course. I mean, I would have had to undo that anyways by when lengthening the sleeves, but now I just opted for a regular bind off, and it's curling up a little bit, but I actually think that looks pretty cute on this garment. So yeah, pattern wise, I'm not sure I can recommend this pattern because there were just so many adjustments I had to make, and when I first put it on, I was really, I wouldn't say disappointed, but I knew that I would have to do a lot of steps to fix it. It is like a regular raglan, as you can see. The collar is double folded. And then another thing is that you do these very weird short rows. Like the short rows are just here, like up at the top. Also, I don't know, because now, I think when you wear it, you can't really see it, but here, like you can definitely see a little like bulge. I don't know. It's a little bit weird, so I just wish that it was like a better written pattern, I guess. Yeah, I don't know. I think I took pictures when I first, like before I first edited it. I don't even know if I did, but it was just way off anything. And I mean, I followed exactly my size and my gauge was pretty much on point. So it's kind of a shame. I hope I wear it now. I'm not like super excited about it just yet, but maybe once I wear it a few times I'll love it more. I think the thing that I will really love about this is the yarn I chose. So I chose the Drops Belle. Let me get a close-up. It is a mixture of viscose, linen, and cotton. So it's kind of like just naturally, because the different fibers take on the dye differently, it gives this like marled effect. I've blocked this and it looks pretty even. Like I was a little bit worried about that when I was knitting it up first. But yeah, it should be a nice summer yarn. It worked up relatively quickly because it is a large gauge, and I was also able to machine block it, which is lovely. It just kind of saves a lot of hassle. I think putting something in the washing machine though, or in the dryer, that you have just spent so many hours, although it was a quicker project, but still a lot of hours went into this, is definitely daunting and definitely a little bit nerve-wracking, but it turned out really fine. So yeah, I don't know. It's something I knit up because I really liked how the images looked in the book. I think they look really beautiful on the woman who's wearing the t-shirt. But maybe it just goes to show that not everyone should be wearing everything. And had I finished this pattern without any of the alterations, there would have been absolutely no way that I could have worn it. Like I said, way too cropped. The sleeves were just kind of like here. I have this much yarn left over, which is like, I bought an extra skein because that's just a habit that I've gotten myself into after playing too much yarn chicken. And the fact that this is all that I have left is kind of telling in terms of how many like adjustments that I've had to do. But anyways, that's enough about Give Me the Tea by Jenny Ansa. Then the second finished object that I want to talk about is not with me right here because I already gifted it. So I made my aunt the Coffee Run sweater by Kika, which is a pattern in her second book. So my aunt kind of requested me to knit something for her, so I was happy to do that. And she kind of picked the pattern, and she also picked the yarn, and then I made it for her. Luckily she chose a pattern that wasn't too intense and like too time intensive, because quite frankly this was fine to knit a few weeks ago, but had this project taken any longer I would have had to put it to the side because it's way too hot to be knitting an alpaca at the moment. This is a sweater that is a top-down twisted rib stitch raglan construction. It is knit very basic, like any other raglan, I guess, but the like nice thing here is definitely the twisted rib raglan. And I knit this sweater on 4.5mm needles on Drops Air, which is a alpaca polyamide wool mix yarn. It is a blown yarn, so it kind of gives that natural halo, and the gauge I knitted at was 18 stitches. For myself I would have probably made a size S, but for my aunt I made a size M. And the sweater at the end weighed 318 grams, so it's just under 6.5 skeins of the Drops Air, which comes in 50-gram balls. The color I used was called North Sea, and it's this kind of like off teal color. It's a very muted teal, I would describe it as. And yeah, she ended up loving it. I think that just makes me so happy that she really enjoyed receiving it. In terms of the knitting experience, it was actually really easy. It was a very simple sweater. I had to make some like length adjustments. I actually knitted up quite a bit shorter, the sleeves as well as the body, just to fit her. And yeah, one thing though that I will say about this pattern was that like the raglan, that's this beautiful twisted rib stitch, kind of like you just basically continue twisting your rib from the collar, which I think is so beautiful, but the raglan continues down on the side, so the twisted rib continues on the sides of the sweater, and that's not something that I was necessarily aware of, just because I don't know, like I said, she chose the pattern and she also chose the yarn. So usually when I start knitting a project, I read up on Ravelry in terms of sizing. I read up different notes from different people to just kind of give me like an idea. But with this one, I didn't do too much of that because yeah, she had chosen it, and like, I'm not gonna argue, right? But because I only kind of referenced the pictures that were in the book, I didn't know that the twisted rib actually continues down the side, so that was a really nice surprise actually. I was very happy with that. I think it looks so crisp. I think it's such a beautiful addition, like, or a little like extra to it just being a little bit like special compared to like a regular raglan, which is kind of like, you know, often comparable to more of a sweater type. So that was fun. In terms of the yarn, I have many experiences with the Drops Air. I've made a whole review video on here quite a while ago actually. But essentially this is the third like long sleeve garment. I made my partner a sweater, I made a cardigan for myself, and now I made this one, and I've also made various accessories with it. I have to say that I think I'm becoming more of a fan of the Drops Air. It might be because Drops kind of fixed the issue of the balloon tube being very unevenly distributed in terms of like how much yarn fiber was in each section of the tube, if that makes sense. So I don't know, especially with the cardigan, I had to throw out an entire skein because it was just, some was empty tube, and then there would be like a bunch of like wool fibers just like stuck together, and you can't knit with that. The yarn is a very warm yarn, and that's exactly what my aunt wanted for this sweater. It is definitely like an alpaca yarn and not like the other contents of the yarn. It's warm. I don't know how resistant it is in terms of pilling or in terms of durability. My partner's sweater is pilling quite a bit, but other than that it looks fine. I will say that the stitch definition of the yarn does like kind of suffer with the pilling, of course. But yeah, maybe drops just kind of improved the yarn. I'm not sure, because I didn't have a single issue with this. Maybe it's a color thing, I'm not sure. Let me know down below if you've had issues with the drops air, or if it's a yarn that you frequently use in sweaters. Yeah, but that was my second finished item, which I'm actually super happy about. I was a little bit nervous. Also, I had like a colorway issue along the way where I joined the wrong colorway and then I had to undo a whole bunch, and yeah, and then it got hot, so I couldn't knit on it, or I just didn't want to, and then it got cold again. I was like, I need to finish this now before the actual summer comes. But I'm super happy with it, and I think my aunt is too, and I hope she'll love it wearing it in the winter. The third finished item I have, and this one I almost already like forgot about because I knit this thing up so quickly. So essentially we went to Italy for a few days. We live in Austria, so Italy is very close by. We went to Italy for a few days for a long weekend, and it was kind of like a road trip, a hiking trip, and I just kind of threw in some random yarn into my little knitting bag to be able to knit in the car. And what came out of it is this Oslo hat. So it looks like this. I'll briefly put it on. Here we go. So it's quite like large, but I think I love it. Like, I really like it. Obviously it's way too warm to wear now. This decision was kind of made very quickly. I just, like I said, had yarn, I had the needles, so I was kind of looking for a project to make with it. And yeah. So in terms of the yarn I use, it is the Hobbii Kids Silk in this dark blue color. I don't know what color this is, unfortunately. And then it is the Malabrigo Mechita in the color Wales Road, which is this beautiful hand-dyed, I guess, yarn. And it has this beautiful marling, or like, I guess it's like a color effect because of the different dyes. I think this is so beautiful. I'm so in love with this yarn. I bought it in Scotland, and I've only made a mini skein with it because I got 200 grams of it. But so far I've only made a mini scarf with it. I just love it. I think this is just like why I love knitting yarns like this. It's so beautiful. So then I held those two yarns together, and then if you've made this hat before, it essentially, like, it's a very long tube that you kind of fold and then knit together and then fold again. So I knit an adult's large, which I would not do again. I would knit an adult's medium. Essentially I made this decision because in my gauge swatch I had 24 stitches per 10 centimeters, and in the pattern it calls for 23 stitches. So I was like, you know what, I'm just gonna make a size large and it'll be fine. Yeah, it turns out it was a little bit too big. I think I can still wear it. I think it's okay. I'm not gonna undo it. But if I'm gonna make this hat again, and I probably will, I will make it in a size medium. For reference, I think my head circumference is 56 centimeters, so average, I think. But yeah, another thing that I did with this hat, and this one this decision I'm actually super happy with. So I held the two yarns double, but when I just undid it, you might have noticed that this middle section is significantly lighter. And that is because the mohair is actually a little bit itchy, or I find itchy, especially when it's like gonna be on my head. So what I did is I did the section that's gonna be touching my skin with just the Malabrigo yarn, or the Malabrigo Mechita yarn, which is a superwash merino, so it's not itchy at all. And then I kind of switched back to the mohair held with it at like where you see the hat again. So when you look at it, you don't see it, but when you wear it, I'll hopefully be thankful that I made that decision. Yeah, in terms of pattern, it's definitely a pattern that's like not to be underestimated in terms of like how much yarn it uses and like how much it is, because you have to think this is double like folded, so it's like this long of a tube, which is I think way longer than what you would think for this hat. I knit it exactly according to pattern, except I followed the adult medium measurements for length. I just followed the adult large measurement for the stitch count. And yeah, I mean, I'm not gonna wear it now obviously because it's way too hot, but I think I'm really excited to wear it in the winter. it looks really big. Like this looks massive, and probably because it is, but I can still wear it. I was really worried when blocking that it was just gonna be too big, and this is not really a hat that like my partner would wear, I think. But yeah, I think the Oslo Hat is one of those patterns that if someone makes it, they don't just make it once, and I kind of understand why now. It's really clever in the construction. It's a basic hat, and depending on the yarn you choose, you can really pair it with a lot of things. So yeah, I'm excited I finally made mine, and I'll probably be making one come the winter, not in this heat. Like even just holding and touching this, I'm starting to sweat a little bit. But yeah, that's my third finished item, which literally I knit this up in 3 days. Just, yeah, because we had a lot of downtime, which is also nice. We had kind of a lot of downtime, little phone time. Yeah. So this is my Italian made hat from the Italian Alps, I guess. And moving on to my works in progress. Because I just finished weaving in all the ends of the t-shirt, I now have 2, or I guess 3 works in progress that I'll be sharing today. The first one I already shared last time, and it is my Cumulus V-neck blouse. I'm now halfway through the first sleeve, as you can see. I love this color. I love everything about this thing so far. The only thing is that, I mean, it's kind of the theme of today's video. It is now too hot for me to kind of enjoy working on it. So I'm just gonna probably put it to the side for a while and continue when it gets a little bit more bearable. This is one of PetiteKnit's like older patterns, I guess, and it's a very simple pattern. So if you're a beginner and if you're looking for like an easy like sweater type or blouse type to start with, I would really recommend this. It is a top-down blouse with this beautiful V opening, and it is knit at a gauge of 18 stitches, and I'm doing that by holding 2 skeins of the Hobbii Diablo held together, and I am using, I think this is color called Sage, which is beautiful, like great. I think if I had to pick a favorite color, it might just be this. Like, I'm so excited about this. I've followed the pattern exactly, however I did make an adjustment in the V opening at the front where I joined it 4 rows, I think it was, earlier than what the pattern says, just because I really don't want the V to be too deep. And it was a little bit hard to try on and to kind of to gauge, but I think also in like some images on Ravelry, the V ended up very like deep down, and I think it's just a matter of like how long your stitches are depending on the yarn you use. And I just really wanted to be safe, and so I joined in the round a little bit earlier. In those rounds when I had already joined, I did continue the raglan, however, to just kind of get the same dimensions. And yeah, so far so good. The I-cord bind off was, I think, a good choice that's in the pattern. It essentially tells you to do an I-cord bind off. It walks you through it, but to prevent it from rolling. And I think it looks nice. Like, I think it works with this pattern. So I'm kind of close to finishing. Like, I just need to finish one sleeve and then this whole other sleeve, and then I guess the I-cord at the V. But I wouldn't be surprised if this project is gonna wait for cooler days, because yeah, I just don't want a sweaty yarn project. But anyways, that is my Cumulus Blouse by PetiteKnit, which I'm so excited about. And by the way, I'm making size S for myself, which is exactly what my measurements call for, I believe. The next project is one that I'm also knitting for someone else. This is a gift knit for my dad, and it is the Zipper Sweater Light by PetiteKnit. Last night I kind of put the sleeves on yarn and I joined in the round, and it was all very exciting, and I knit a little bit here, and now it's kind of starting to actually look like a sweater, and this is what it looks like now. This is the second time of me making the Zipper Sweater Light. The first one was for my partner, and he loves that thing so much. He wears it all the time. I think, like, I finished it in December for him, and until right around about now when it's quite hot, like he's worn that thing like 2-3 times a week. So he loves it, and so my dad wants one. Again, I let him choose the pattern and the yarn himself, and he chose the Drops Belle yarn mainly off of this shirt that I was making at the time. So for his zipper sweater, we got the, like I said, Drops Belle in the color Petrol, which is color number 17. And it is this beautiful like bluish green color. So similar to the dark blue Drops Belle that I used in my t-shirt, you can see that the different fibers that are held together here take on the dye different, making for a little bit of a marling effect, but not too much. Knitted up, it actually looks like a solid color though, like a little bit, maybe you can see it, but it does mostly just look petrol. So the gauge I'm working this up on is exactly what's called for in the pattern, and that is a 20 stitch in 10 centimeter gauge. I don't know why, but with this yarn, for some reason, like I have to use very small needles to achieve that. So I'm using 3mm needles. So technically I'm working a men's size small sweater on 3mm needles, which would be very time intensive, and I know this will be very time intensive, but it is a 20 stitch gauge, so it should be okay. And yeah, so far I love the color. He picked this himself, so yeah. I was initially quite nervous about knitting a sweater that was meant to be knit up in wool as a winter sweater in a linen cotton blend to be more of a summer lighter garment. And I really asked my dad multiple times. I really said, are you sure? Like, I really don't know how it's gonna turn out. I have no idea if it's gonna look good, but he really, really wanted it, and he was sure. And I'm really happy that he is making me do that, or that I'm doing this for him. He's not making me do anything, but it's working really nicely. Like, I see it now, and yeah, all my doubts or my worries about the yarn choice, like, aren't really there anymore. I think it's turning up really, really nicely, and I don't really think it's a problem that it's not made out of wool. I think it still looks really beautiful, and yeah, I mean, now the long work of, I just lost some stitches, but basically now the tedious or long journey of the body will start. The raglan already had almost 400 stitches, like where the shoulder is the widest. So definitely took a little bit of motivation over the last few days, which is also why I was really happy to be able to finally join it yesterday. Yeah, the way this is constructed, maybe I should say, is that the collar is double folded, and then you work it like as a pretty normal back and forth raglan, of course, because the zipper will be installed afterwards. Yeah, and then once you hit the bottom of the zipper, you continue in the round, and that's kind of where I am now. And the zipper gets installed last, which I know a lot of people are nervous for. I actually made a whole project vlog about my last zipper sweater, men. This is the light version, by the way. There's 2 versions that I made. Just so, like, also for myself, so I remember how I put this zipper in, and maybe also to help others. So yeah, I'm not making a project vlog for this because I figured I already have a zipper sweater light project vlog, but I think I'm feeling better about the zipper installation with this one just because I've done it once, so that will help, but still something that will need to be tackled at some point. But yeah. So that is my second work in progress at the moment. My third work in progress, and this is one, I actually don't think I showed it last time, but I will show it now. It's my temperature blanket, which looks like this right now. Ta-da! It's really wide. It has all these stripes, and I'm really loving like the green and the yellow. I think it's so fun. I still don't know how I feel about the red, like, ignore the red. Maybe I don't know if I'll take it out. I don't know, we were just like in the tropics here, that's why it's so red here. That's just the color I chose for it. But this part I think looks really pretty. I am around like 3 weeks behind this right now, or in this right now, which is okay, I'll catch up. No reason really, I wanted to knit more than I wanted to crochet. But I guess with temperature blankets, and anyone who's ever made this will probably know this, that there will be times when you're quite far behind. But I'm not giving up on it or anything. I'm really, you know, I've already written down all the temperatures, so I just need to crochet all the rows now, basically. And yeah, I'm making this on a 4mm hook, so crochet hook, and I'm using the moss stitch. So it looks like this is a close-up. I think it's really beautiful. I love the moss stitch. It's fun to like crochet as well. And the yarn I'm using is the Drops Cotton Light, which I also have a whole review about here. It is a 50% cotton and 50% polyester blended yarn, and yeah, it's okay. It's for this project, it's perfect. Let's put it that way. This shirt is the same yarn, and I don't know, I think crocheting with it is a little bit trickier than knitting with it, just because the yarn splits quite a bit. But I'm not really having any issues crocheting the moss stitch. I think it depends, like if you're a crocheter, which stitch you go, what you do with it. I know that in triple crochets it is a little bit splitty, like it really splits a lot. I did one project that involved a lot of triple crochets and this yarn was awful for it. But other than that, like I love it here. I love it on my blanket. The blanket is starting to get a little bit of weight to it, so that's kind of fun. And yeah, I will hopefully be caught up by the next podcast. Okay, now those are the 3 projects that I currently am in the making of. I do want to mention my Darjeeling blouse. I showed it last time, I explained it, and I'm not going to show it this time because nothing has happened to it yet. I think I'm a bit like discouraged because I think it's too big, so I'm not like the most motivated. I will pick it up again soon though and hopefully get it done and see if it actually fits me. Thank you for those who left the very encouraging comments on my last video, kind of reassuring me that it's okay. So yeah, I will be continuing on that, not this week, probably next week. But yeah, the next project, or the 2 next projects that I'm gonna cast on is, the first one is the Margot top by Gregoria Fibers. And I actually just finished making the swatch for it. So this is what my swatch looks like. And I love it. I think it's so pretty. I'm super excited. I just want to make a summer top. Like I'm making 2 long sleeve sweaters at the moment and I just want to make a summer top. And this is the one I'm gonna make. The reason I'm starting another project next to the 2 sweaters that I'm already making is because I'm actually leaving tonight to go on a trip to France until Saturday night. So I'm gone for a whole week. It is a work trip, so it's not really a holiday. But I think there will be lots of time for me to do some knitting. And yeah, so I'm gonna take this because I figured that a summer top is just a lot more plain friendly and like less bulk than one of these sweaters would be. I know I'm also like a sock knitter when I travel, but I don't really want to deal with 5 double-pointed needles on a plane. So I just decided that I want to start on the Margot top. And I've purchased the pattern, I've done my gauge swatch. The yarn I'm going to use is the Hobbii Rainbow Bamboo, which is a 60% viscose, 40% cotton blend. These are 100 gram skeins and I have 4 of these, so I should be okay for a summer top. And yeah, I was initially going to use this for the Sabai top, but it is a 24 stitch gauge here, and I kind of switched the yarn I was going to use for that one for the Sabai top. And yeah, I'm gonna make it on 3mm needles, which I still need to take out of my other project because I only own 1 3mm needle thing set, I guess. But that's not an issue. The second project I will start, I'm not sure about this week, but maybe in the week or the week thereafter, is the Sabai top, no, by Paula Strickt. This is a top that's very popular. I don't know if it's always been popular or if it's just popular at the moment, but it is also this like, it actually has a very similar shape to the Margot top, and that one I'm going to make in the Soft Cotton by Lana Grossa. This is a 70% cotton, 30% polyacrylic mix, and it's just very soft, like it stands true to its name. This is in the color 46, and it is this like jeans blue, I would describe it as. And yeah, I have 4 skeins of this, which should also be enough for the sub-eye top. I heard a lot of people making it and a lot of people saying that it's a very quick knit. I'm going to knit it along with my friend who is also going to knit it, but she's in Canada. And yeah, just a kind of like a fun way to stay in touch. And we're not just ready to cast this on yet, so probably in the upcoming few weeks. But yeah, there are no acquisitions today because I've bought so much yarn over the last couple of weeks that I probably have enough yarn to last me until the end of the year. But that's totally fine. So now I'm just kind of focused on using my yarn and kind of planning my projects with the yarn that I have. And yeah, I'm still knitting quite a bit, but I think also that in the coming few weeks, if it stays as hot or if it gets even hotter, I'm not sure if I can like bear too much knitting. I don't know, are you like that as well? That like if it gets really hot out, you knit less? Let me know. I don't know if it's a me problem. I don't mind the heat at all. I love the heat. Like I am a summer person. I love it. But just knitting is, I don't like in the heat. But anyways, I think we're at the end of today's podcast. Thank you so much for watching and supporting my channel. If you like this video, give it a like, leave a comment down below, and if you want to stick around for the long run, I would love for you to subscribe. I post videos around about every single week, and I'll see you in the next one. Until then, take care. Bye.